No. Hit answer, guys. Come on. Don't know if you can hear me and shit if you don't answer. Okay, cool. Thanks, bros. Oh, no. I was already halfway through paper. So many people wanted this live markup, and there's only like 5 people on it. Dedication, guys. It's good. Sunday, Arvo. Everyone's got to go to work in like freaking 16 hours. Shut up, Bob. The headphones in bubbles. There we go. What a fucking webinar. You start playing a fucking TV show. There's some up there. No, it's too far. I think there's some up there. I've got wireless ones, but they probably won't connect to your Mac. Well, I don't think anyone else is getting on, so we might as well start. Okay. So looking at GJ, what trend are we in on GJ?
Down for sure.
Yep.
No.
We're in a bearish trend. Everybody needs to answer so I know that everyone can hear me. Yes, we're in a downtrend. Okay. So hence why we think that it's going to break out of its triangle to the downside, because our momentum on our bigger time frames is still short. Okay. Yes, this is an extremely, extremely strong low point for the downside. Okay. But this 50% has acted as an extremely strong resistance. So we'll be expecting to continue on to the downside. Okay. If the market lets us break the support that's through there. Okay. So when we mark out our support and resistance on this bad boy, come on, slow as computer. We're looking for key levels that have been respected multiple times. The only issue with GJ is finding a range small enough. It is an absolute pain in the ass. Sweet. Rotate range. So we look for two key levels of reaction on both sides, support and resistance. Okay, and then we space on out our monthlies. Where does our weeklies go?
%.
Yep, sweet. And they're blue. And we can continue on the way up. Hey, man.
Hello.
Oh, there's so many people on here. Cheer 'em. But if you can't hear me, man, it'll be your microphone. Oh, it doesn't help if you can't hear me. But so we've already got our established momentum of the trend, okay, on the monthly through our EMAs and microstructure. Okay, we can have a little bit of a look at a candlestick analysis here too. Okay, so where we're looking through here, we had our bearish engulfing to the downside. Okay, we also had that off a 50% PRZ neat. Okay, that's an established high point and low point all the way through the market, so extremely well respected. Okay, guys, this line could actually probably go up just a smidge to that. Okay, so we can see the big wicks past the 50 up to the 61.8. Price staying below the blue EMA, which is ideally what we want in a very aggressive trending market. And the monthly candle, which we have another week or two left is still pointing bearish, which is ideally what we want to see. Okay, so it has broken down past the 38.2 for now. We are busting through the weekly, which is what we want to see. If we zoom on down to the weekly, okay, if you zoom down to the weekly, you can start to see a bit more detail, and you can see where your weeklies are lining up pretty bang on, acting as support all the way through here, acting as resistance through here, and support through here. We have just broken through that. Okay, so we're going to go over look to the left. Our weeklies acting as support, resistance and support. Okay, resistance through here, support all the way through here. So our weeklies have lined up pretty well. Okay, from our original monthlies. So fairly solid weekly turning points, which is why once we broke it, yes, this is a lot of fucking consolidation, because you have to think about it, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, what's that look like on a small time frame? What's it mean on a smaller time frame? Type it in. Consolidation ranging, yes, okay. Market going sideways. So candlestick analysis wise, we've got wicks evenly on both sides of the candles. We're still below the EMA. Our EMAs are still pointing bearish, okay. But you can start to see there is support that we're sitting on through here. And when we go down to the daily, it's going to look a bit stronger, okay. But our monthly and our weekly, we're overall in bearish trends, okay. So we're still pointing to the downside here. Now, when we go to No. So when we go and start having a look at our major support and resistance levels, guys, that price is sitting on, so our dailies, we can see red line through here. Price cannot break this area through here. So what I like to do with these is identify that whole low with a box. Okay, you can change the color of the box if you want to. It's completely up to you. But identify this previous supply and demand area because it's an area that we can't break at the moment. Okay, we're extremely, extremely strong here, this support. Yeah, so if we do, by some chance, break this low, what are we going to be looking to do?
Short it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, short the market, exactly. So what you can also now do, you can start to look for your diagonal trend support and resistance. Okay, you can start to see your trend lines coming down through your areas through here. Okay, we've got 0.8 at the top. And we've just had point C. Okay, so we are looking for the market to break the low that we are on, and we'll be trading it down to the monthly. Okay, so that's still a pretty decent pip range. Okay, that's 328 pips to the downside on GJ if we can make our break. Okay, if price turns around and we get a break of our trend line to the upside and a print past our weekly, we will be looking for our momentum shift to print back up to this high. So we'll be trading it at least back up to our previous monthly. Okay, so when you get price come to a choke point like this, when you've got a strong support and a descending trend line, okay, it is safest to wait for a breakout, even though we can have a target area and a prediction on where we think the market's going to go. So all of our EMAs are pointing bearish, okay, but this previous low through here is acting very strong. So we need to see a print past that before it falls. But my bias is this to the downside, okay? And if, depending on what happens with the Brexit vote, which comes up soon, okay, everybody over in the UK is protesting against leaving the European Union. So if they do overthrow that decision to leave and they end up joining back again, you are going to see quite aggressive moves in the British pound. Okay, and I mean very aggressive to the upside. Okay, so we need to keep in mind what's going to happen with that over the long term. So short term, we might see a bit of a drop to the downside. Okay, maybe even down to this previous supply and demand on the low. But if the European Union, the British don't leave the European Union, they stay, then it's going to cause very, very bullish spikes for the British pound. So GJ, GU, everything like that will do some pretty solid bullish momentum. Okay, because they get a lot of their investment back. Yeah. So not the best trade for the start of week. We really need to see how GJ is going to play out a bit. Okay, because once we start to narrow it down, okay, as you guys know, I don't mark up my whole fucking chart with daily and support and 4 hour support and resistance. I mark up around where price is, and as it breaks out and heads to these other areas, I'll mark it out then. There's no point having price marked up fucking 10 months ago. Does not make sense, okay? So once I get a breakout of this, I'll go through and establish my support and resistance to the downside, okay, which will probably be through there. But until it does so, there's no real point leaving on the screen. So that would be my next support level, and then my monthly down the bottom. But that's all I'd have on my screen, okay? And then if you go down to your 4 hour, yes, you'll see the consolidation area we're having through here, okay? You can see the supply area through here is extremely, extremely strong. Okay, we had a point C on our trend line, and every time it touched our demand, it was out of there. Okay, and you can see the triple bottom we are starting to form now out of our solid supply area, which was on the monthly. Okay, sorry, not the monthly, the daily supply and demand. So that big blue box, I might change the color of it so people don't get confused. big green box is our supply and demand area from previous lows, okay? So we're bouncing between a supply and demand area. We really need to see a break of these lows on the 4 hour, and then I'll be looking to trade that structure to the downside down to here, okay? But obviously, if we can come through and break this high, be looking to go long, okay? But if anybody traded this, these were extremely good shorting opportunities at the high points here, okay? We did buy down here and we took profit up here. It was a quick 50 pips because I was waiting for other setups. But overall, GJ is consolidating like fuck. Okay, so probably not the cleanest, neatest setup to be taking, but it will be one to watch coming into next week as we probably may see some bearish momentum coming into it. Okay. GBP USD would probably be one of the harder ones to mark out at the moment. There are two ways you could mark this chart up. You could use quarter series, so using whole numbers, okay, or you can mark up as per normal support and resistance, okay. Both would seem valid, okay, as long as you have some form of line in the right position. So the reason you would use quarter series is because if this low breaks, you'd no longer have anything to the downside to project to, okay. So at least whole numbers give you a theoretical support and resistance. That's what banks and hedge funds and everything will be basing their support and resistance off, okay? Because when you have no actual support and resistance, you have to use theoretical support and resistance, which is quarter series, okay? However, I'm not the biggest fan of quarters, so I'll actually mark out our highs and our lows, okay? Okay, quarter series is a theoretical support and resistance where you mark out, quarter series. You mark out whole numbers, okay? So you'll mark out 1,000 pip range, then you will halve it and halve it again. So you go quarters into 1,000 pip range. So every 250 pips in whole numbers, you have a line of support and resistance, okay? So, for example, you would have, that's really fucking annoying. Huh? Yeah, already. Oh, that's good. So you can mark these out two ways. So you got 1 to 50, which will be just fucking, I'll go through quarter series another time. It's a complete training in itself. If you don't know what it is, don't worry about it, okay? But a lot of people will mark out this support and resistance at that resistance, okay? Because it is a whole number and a quarter of a whole, okay? So it'll be 125, 150, okay? Then 175, and then 2, 225, 250, 275, 3. You go up in quarters, okay? That's why it's called quarter series. Yeah, there is. Okay, Sean has this area on GU marked up in quarters, okay? So if you ever wondered why support and resistance is different to mine, okay, that's because he uses his quarter series, okay? Both perfectly fine, and both have been traded perfectly fine, okay? But for myself, I mark it up like this. Establishing two key lows. Excuse me. Okay, so what trend are we in?
Downtrend.
Yep. What trend are we in?
Consolidation.
Nope. What downtrend? What trend are we in?
Still down there.
Yep, still bearish. Okay, still a very, very bearish trend. A bullish trend, what do we need to do to change from bearish to a bullish?
Break that high.
Break the highs. Okay, so we go back through and we have a look. That's your high. That's your high. That's your high. We haven't broken it yet. Okay. So we're still in a bearish trend on our monthly and our weekly. The only reason people are hesitant about trading GU is it's at the lowest it's ever been price-wise. Okay. So realistically, if it breaks the low, it's going to be extremely hard to trade this pair. Okay, very hard. But you can still trade a 4-hour trend very, very easily. Okay. So we have two bigger time frames at the downside, our 50% PRZs in the middle. When we get down to our daily, we start to see a little bit more detail through here, and you can see our trend, okay, is switching from a bearish trend on the daily to a bullish trend on the daily. Okay, we have broken our daily trend line through that to the downside. Okay, so we'll probably be expecting a pullback or a drawback to the trend line, and then maybe some bullish momentum to the upside. Okay, that would be my bias. Will be a drop for start of week, and then a rise to finish week. Okay, all depends on how the GBP plays out. Okay, but GU and GJ are not in very clear-cut spots at the moment, so you need to see how Monday is going to push them. Okay, because a lot of the time, guys, you'll mark up on a Sunday, and it'll completely be fucking irrelevant by the time Monday night comes around. Okay, so that's why we like to get an idea of what we need to see on a bigger time frame in either direction, and then when we start to get our movement on a Monday, we can then go in and mark our smaller time frames up. Okay, so you won't see me on a 1 hour or anything like that on a Sunday, because you're not looking for entries. Okay, you're not looking for anything like that. You're trying to establish which direction the market's going to go. Okay, and then once that plays out, you can then look to enter on like a Monday in London or something like that. But how did this daily close, guys?
Engulfing bearish.
Okay, so we're probably going to be expecting some bearish momentum on a Monday, considering how that candle closed. Okay, EMAs have crossed to the upside, but ultimately we're pretty much ranging between our two monthlies at the moment with our key levels in the middle. Okay, so it honestly won't surprise me if we get a pull back down to our weekly and a retest of our trend line in that area. Okay, so something like that would probably look like this to line up with our 38, okay, or our 50. So if you had price pull back to here in the next 2 to 3 days and you had a bullish engulfing out of that area, it would be a very strong area to look for a buy. Okay, considering your weekly has broken past and printed on your weekly, your daily trend line's broken, EMAs have crossed. Okay, did the EMAs cross before or after the trend line here, guys?
Is that EMA?
Did the EMAs cross before or after the trend line?
Before.
Sweet. Is that the strongest signal or the weakest signal?
The strongest.
Sweet. So it's a strong sign that your trend is actually changing. Okay. So the good thing for this currency pair will be if the British pound, if the European Union even don't separate, then this will be pushing back bullish into an area where it's extremely, extremely tradable. Okay, but we are in a bullish trend, guys, on the 4 hour. Okay, so expect a pullback. It may break 4 hour structure, guys. Okay, but how many times have you seen 4 hour structure break and then it breaks again straight away? Okay, because people think that a 4 hour is gospel and they don't think to look on a bigger time frame. UJ 2 weeks ago was a prime example. Everyone said it put a double top in and broke structure to the downside. Then it put a double bottom in and pushed up 250 pips. Okay, because that break of structure on a 4 hour, that was just a pull back on a daily. Okay, so we need to be aware of these things. So we may see a market pull away back down to here. If it breaks the low, guys, you can definitely start trading sells, but be aware that around this area here, you may see a re-break of structure back to the upside. And if you do see that, you know exactly why, you know exactly when to enter. Okay, so just an idea. But if this turns around and does a big bullish engulfing start of the week, you can keep trading a bullish trend because it hasn't turned around yet. Okay, remember, you don't try to predict the market. The only thing we're doing here is we're trying to gauge on where it's going to go first thing in the week. If that's completely wrong, reassess your markup. because it doesn't matter if you're wrong, guys, as long as you don't enter that trade. You can be wrong a million times. And if you never actually enter the wrong trades, you're never losing money. The majority of traders are wrong most of the time. It's just when they're right, that's when they've got trades on. When they're wrong, they don't have trades on. So it doesn't matter if you're fucking wrong. Okay? So getting out of the stigma of you need to be calling markups on a Sunday or a Monday and then they play out all week and all that sort of shit. Fucking relevant. Yeah, so GU, I'll be expecting a pullback start of week and then maybe longs to the end of the week. But if we can maintain structure, then we'll obviously be buying, okay? But expect that pullback down to here, guys, okay? We'll see how it's going to play out. But judging on that candle close, market structure, I think we're going to get a bit of an extension off the 38, back up to the 27, okay? Yeah. Everyone all G with that?
Mm-hmm.
Happy days. That's what we're expecting on GU. UJ, pulling some fuckery. So we're going through and punching out our monthly support and resistance lines. No, we have not looked at AU yet. Bold screenshot. Yeah, brother. All trainings and Q&As and shit get recorded and put on the website. Anyone in Wall Street Academy? Yeah. Anyone see all the bullshit going on with Quillen lately? People are ripping him. Because I don't think they're getting what they paid for in WSA. So a lot of people got on a post, started ripping him a new arsehole. So, UJ trend. Yeah, a lot of people were getting deleted and not getting refunded money. So that was a fairly big issue. But anyway, what trend are we in on the monthly here, guys?
Out.
Bullish? Anybody else? Okay. So what trend's this in?
Well, that's a downtrend for sure. Take it back.
Okay, so depending on how this candle closes, will tell us if it's bullish or bearish. This next candle, okay? Yeah, so this was our established low on the 38. If this low gets broken, okay, we have one candle, but a support and resistance, how many candles does it take to break or test a support and resistance? We all know this. 2. Okay, so if the next candle closes big bullish engulfing, that's still respected that low. Okay, same thing up in here. People said this blue candle here broke that monthly. Never did such a thing because the next one pulled straight back in, pump down. So if you went to the longs there, you would have a very shit time. Okay, but we are at a fucking monthly, very, very key level on our chart. So it happens that intersects perfectly with a EMA. Okay, so odds are we are going to find some support here to pull back and retest the previous low on a weekly. Okay, judging by how this daily candle closed, kind of backs the theory up a little bit. But on the daily, we have now broken structure to the downside. So if the weekly can continue on, okay, and not print all the way back up here at the close of next week, and we can close below the monthly, we are now in a bearish trend, guys, and we're trading down to the weekly, okay? So there may be some big momentum shifts coming in this after this solid rise, okay, after Trump's election. So last week was amazing for sellers. Remember that trade you caught while I was there teaching, Dylan?
Yep.
On the Friday, look what happened the next week.
Yeah.
It was like a fucking mirror image, man. So while I was in Newcastle teaching, Dylan jumped on that short there, okay, and wrote it down before it closed for the weekend. But then have a look what happened on the Monday, guys. Nearly the exact same thing. Double top in a downtrend with a bearish engulfing. Stops above the high, enter. Very, 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 very solid drop. Okay, we're looking at well over 100 pips on that drop. But back to this. Your daily closed engulfing to the upside. You're bouncing off a monthly. Okay, yes, you're in a bearish trend. So we can now start drawing our fibs from our high down to our low. Okay. So we need to start looking at what point are we going to be looking for market reversal. Okay. Market's more than likely going to pull back to a key level. But it can pull back to any single one of them. So you're going to be looking for your market structure break on a smaller time frame, and then you can trade this retracement. Okay, it is tradable, but you have to be wary that on a bigger time frame, if you see a 4-hour double top form and in this area, you need to be aware that that's a 38.2 on a daily. So it very well can drop from that area to the downside. Okay, but on the daily, guys, yes, we have well and truly broken our structure to the downside on this, but we're on a killer support. So you have to be careful. Okay, my bias is start a week bullish momentum for UJ. Whether that comes down to do a double bottom, I don't know, but I seriously think it's going to go bullish start of week, and then we'll assess whether we're going to get a midweek reversal or continue bullish. Okay, so we can't assess that till sort of midweek, but should be some good movement this week, that's for sure. Okay, going by the wicks on how they close to the downside here, guys, we're getting a lot of rejection off that monthly, so it's an extremely well placed monthly. Okay, perfecto. So we'll be looking for a pullback to 38.2. So we can get that pullback to 38.2. It gives us about 100 pips of tradable distance before we need to be reassessing the market. If it can break that 38, I'll be pushing for the 61 to retest the previous low and get up near that weekly. But we've got to see how it reacts around 38.2 first. Okay. So my bias on UJ is that. Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's why I'll be taking my profit here when I look to go long. I'll be taking my money here and I'll be reassessing what the market's going to do from there. Okay, but if it continues to rise, doesn't break structure, we'll continue to buy. Okay, and just be aware that your next level up we'll be looking for will be the 61.8. So we'll see how that plays out start of week. Fairly basic markups to start up on a Sunday, guys. We don't need anything too elaborate yet because Monday is telling us where the market's going to go. So we don't really need to be predicting it just yet. Okay, wait for some signs. Like after everybody did the course, especially the most recent ones, you guys probably would have started to see at least 1 or 2 4-hour perfect setups every single week between all the major pairs. If you have a look around at a 4-hour at last week's market conditions, I can almost guarantee you'll be able to find a 4-hour engulfing to get back in with the trend, offer PRZ and a support resistance perfect. Okay? Good thing about a 4-hour trade, guys, is that trade is more than likely going to be an 80 to 150 pip move. You only need to catch 1 or 2 of those a week, and you've made fucking stupid amount of money.
Is that for you like the ultimate, or like what you're looking for in terms of the setup?
Yeah, 4-hour, all that stuff lining up is ideally. Obviously, you can enter a lot of trades without all that jazz, but the perfect setups are those ones. So UJ last week, or 2 weeks ago, sorry, when it did this setup, these are cream. Okay? These 2 here were cream to get back in with the trend. Perfect. Okay? But yeah, these first break and retest of trends is my perfect setup, I personally think. Okay? Because the second push of a trend is generally the most aggressive. Okay? But these setups here, guys, double bottoms of PRZs, previous structure, bullish EMAs, engulfings, you get like nearly every single thing that we used to trade is telling you to buy. When we get those, you get 1 or 2 a week you get of those guys. If you're flicking through your pairs and you're looking properly, you get 1 or 2 of these a week. Okay, so the trading becomes very, very, very calm, very easy, very fun. That's what it should be. It shouldn't be you sitting on a chart stressing, okay, losing money, going fucking absolutely crazy because you can't find a setup. If you're doing that, it's because you're looking on too small of a fucking time frame. Okay, yes, I can enter on a 5-minute, 3-minute, 1 minute. Okay, but there's a reason you see me not doing it much anymore. Okay, it's hard on your mindset, it's hard on your body, it's hard on your relationships. Okay, look at all hedge fund traders that trade and make millions, tens of millions, 100 millions, billions of dollars. They have no social life. They have no friends. They sit 18, 20 hours in front of a computer. Yeah, they make fuckloads of money, of dumb money, but it's a handoff, guys. You can't have one without the other. Okay, Astro have found the perfect thing, a combination of time on charts, social life, mindset, and it makes them a lot of money. Okay, that's something that when you're new, it's very hard to focus on because all you want to do is trade. You want to get as much chart time as possible and do all these things. But as you start to get more proficient at your trading, your chart time will actually get less and you're going to make twice as much money. Okay, because these setups, yeah, if you want to sit here, this setup on UJ, you could have stacked 4 or 5 times. Okay, but just that one order on 10 lots for 200 pips is $20,000. Okay, and with the amount of confirmations and stuff that you have, throwing 10 lots, 5 lots, 2 lots, 1 lot doesn't really affect your mindset that much, guys, because you trust yourself that much. Okay, whose trust in their analysis has already gone through the roof since doing the course?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so imagine 2-3 months down the line from now. Okay, you're not going to want to be when you can be catching 200 to 300 pips a week, guys. It's not a lot. Okay, but when you get over the old buzz stage of forex, you won't feel like catching 1,000 pips a week. Okay, because you know you don't have to. But once you get over that and you start just trading the setups that come and trading the bigger time frames, your life becomes very, very stress-free and you earn more money than you ever did when you sat on there for 10, 15, 20 hours a day. Okay? So just something to keep in mind as time goes on. Don't just keep looking to be on the charts for bulk amount of time. Obviously, if it's what you want to do, like if you want a hedge fund trade and you want to make that sort of money, you're going to have to do that. But you can still make millions trading and have a very comfortable lifestyle and a very fun lifestyle. It's meant to be that. It's not meant to be like you're in the pit over in Wall Street, fucking yelling at cunts, absolutely going nuts and losing your mind. Fuck that. Fuck that right off. So on 4-hour time frame, you want to see it break this high, retest it, and then you'll be looking for bullish momentum from there. 38.2 being this purple line through here, being the previous low. So I'd be looking to get out of my shit there. Okay, and then reassess the market from there and see how we go. Everyone good with UJ? We know what we're looking for, start of week. Perfect. AU, has anyone marked up AU yet? Cool. So all the guys did the course last week. You should have this mark up on Fleek. And for the guys that did the course in the past 2 weeks, what did you make your money on after you finished the course? What pair?
I made some on Friday on UCAD.
Sweet.
GU, UJ, and AU.
Cool. Perfect. So what trend are we in here on the monthly, guys? We are still
Downtrend.
bearish trend, okay? Until we break this monthly, we are bearish. Okay? This is where structure starts to fuck people. Now what trend are we in?
I broke this high broke the previous high, so I guess
Consolidation still, but because we haven't broken that high. It's only just
Bullish.
retested it.
We are in a bullish trend, okay? We had a double bottom through here, a higher low. We still haven't broken that established low, okay? Yes, on a daily or on a weekly, this is consolidating. But even when you guys do your tests, not consolidation in a trend, does it mean that that trend is broken? Everybody that's done the test should know this. No, consolidation in a trend is not a break of trend. Okay, that's one thing that confuses a shitload of people. The market's going sideways and it actually hasn't broken a previous low. If it's just putting in lows or just putting in highs, it's not a break of structure. So it's very simple to establish which way the trend is more than likely going to go. Okay, GJ is a prime example of that. Okay, on a weekly, it's pushing down. It can't break that low, but the 4 hour, okay, is in a consolidation zone, but it still hasn't broken the high on your consolidation zone, so it's still in a downtrend. So all those top wicks that were out of that supply zone were perfect sell entries, okay, down to the low. Fib from the high to the low, 38.2, take profit. And then once again, just keep going and going and going and going. There was no shit. We worked it out, about 1,300 pips caught in the past 3.5 weeks on GJ by doing what you guys did in your test on GBP, JPY in the 4 hour time frame. Okay. 13 to 1,400 pips. Crazy shit. Okay. So, obviously, before we go crazy with our buyers, what do we need to see?
Break of the highs.
Perfect. Okay. See how even 2 monthlies and a weekly can give you a very, very good bias on what not to look for, okay, and what not to do at the start of the week. Okay. A lot of people, if this closes bullish engulfing or something on Monday morning, they'll start to buy AU, not knowing there's a key level where it is just there. Okay. So we need to always be aware of that jazz. So, yes, we are consolidating, but we are on a bullish trend at the moment. Okay. We go down to the daily. We had a bounce off our daily support and resistance line through here. Okay. And their other one is through there. Perfect. So our 2 dailies that we have, price is rejecting off that right now. So we fib that out, that daily push. Okay, we have our 50 and our 61.8 wrapped around our daily. Okay, so more than likely, if we are going for a bullish momentum trade, we're going to be looking for rejection out of that area there, being that there's an EMA through there. Okay, your daily support, okay, broken resistance, newfound support, and your 61.8 PRZ all wrapped together in that one little area. Okay, you zoom on down to the 4 hour. okay, you'll see the rejection already start out of this area. Okay, so if we see a break in structure to the upside, we can definitely start to trade that. Okay, you take profits. In this instance, you'll be looking at your previous structures like there and then up at the monthly. Okay, but obviously, if this does not correct and it only pulls back to this little high here, doesn't break any of the previous structure, you'll still be shorting the market to the downside. But you have a fair bit of support in this blue box, so pushing past that is going to be a bit tedious. Okay, we'll need to see some pretty solid momentum to break it. Okay, but we still are in a bearish trend, so we're not buying yet. We need to see what Monday gives us. Okay, if we get a double bottom on Monday, perfect. If we break through this support zone on a Monday, sweet. Wait for a pullback and short it in the second half of the week. Okay, but pairs to look at for myself, I'll be mainly looking at EU this week. EU and GJ. Hopefully GJ can break out, and then I will trade it. And AU bouncing off this box. Okay. Are the ones of interest I have. I will be looking at EA, EJ, and those sorts of things. But for you guys, you don't need to be looking at all those pairs. Okay, you need to be looking at AU, UJ, and GU. Okay, you don't need to be looking at all sorts of fucking strange and weird, wonderful pairs. Any questions, guys? Well, there should only be 2 to 3 pairs that you focus on full stop, man. Right, 2 to 3 pairs that you focus on full stop. That is it, period. Okay, so most traders or big time traders will focus on 4 or 5. Okay, but when you've had 6, 7 years experience on those 4 or 5 pairs, you can manage more pairs. Okay, so Astro trade the same 5. Hedge fund teachers from Thailand, Singapore, and London that I trade with, they focus on 6 and 3, depending on the trader that we have. Okay, but all your big guys still focus on a select few. They don't trade everything. Okay, so that's what we need to get around. Any questions, guys? You too, Matty.
Thanks, bro.
No worries. Have a good afternoon, gents, and I'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks, Adam.
No worries, man.
Catch you later.